Hi, this is David McIntyre. I'm going to be talking about my recently completed Cloud Advisory and Migration project. We estimate today's Cloud Advisory and Migration Services market at being roughly $4 billion, with an expected to grow at 17.5% through 2022. We estimate that roughly 48% of all large enterprise cloud adoptions begin with a cloud advisory phase delivered by an IT services vendor. The reason for this is the changing nature of large enterprise cloud adoption. Prior to 2017, the main focus of cloud adoptions were small, non-critical, non-production migrations to reduce cost, increase scalability, or improve disaster recovery capabilities. In 2017, both the scope and the objectives for large enterprises in adopting cloud expanded. The scopes started to become more enterprise-wide, and the objectives became broader both in cost reduction as well as things like laying the foundation for digital transformation. Going forward, we expect this foundational aspect of digital transformation to grow in importance and priority among large enterprises. As clients look to improve analytics or lay in IoT capabilities, they're going to use cloud as the foundation for that. That's why we expect going forward roughly 70% of cloud adoption engagements for IT service vendors are going to be bundled with these incremental capabilities. Some other common characteristics we see from cloud adoptions of large enterprises are that it's continuing to be hybrid cloud focused. So not a single cloud solution, but rather a mix of public cloud options, private cloud options, and maintaining some things on premise in a legacy environment. We also see for those public cloud adoptions, AWS continue to be the primary option. Roughly, we estimate 52% of workloads migrated by IT service vendors on behalf of large enterprises continue to go to AWS for their public option. We actually expect trend-wise this to change over time and actually reduce as increased competition will dig into AWS's market share. Things like Google and Oracle's expanded public cloud options will improve, and we expect clients to drive this change, in particular in areas where they may be competing with Amazon. Retail companies, media companies may no longer want to support competition by having their cloud in AWS. So to support these, vendors are making a number of investments. The biggest area of investment is in automation. We estimate roughly 86% of IT service vendors have an automated advisory and assessment capability. These capabilities are primarily focused on assessing application workloads to understand their suitability for migration and defining migration paths. What's the appropriate way to move this workload into a cloud? We estimate roughly 80% of IT service vendors have a migration automation capability. These are primarily focused on the lifting and shifting of workloads with minimal code modification and the replication of data between legacy applications, maybe that remain on premise, and their recently migrated or not quite stood up application replacements in the cloud. Other areas where vendors are investing to improve their capabilities includes roughly 60% of vendors have actually linked cloud migration and DevOps into a single capability. This reflects the broadened scope that we are seeing of large enterprise migrations. We're also seeing roughly 30% of IT service vendors develop cloud migration factories, and these are to de-risk and reduce the cost of that migration as the migration effort grows in conjunction with the scope of cloud migrations growing. Finally, we see roughly 25% of IT service vendors investigating in dedicated cloud integration capabilities, and this reflects that continuing cloud hybrid model that vendors are seeing clients want. When you're having multiple nodes in a cloud ecosystem, you need to be able to integrate those going forward. So from here on out, we see four major investment areas for IT service vendors. The first one, where they're expecting to spend more time and effort, is expanding their consulting workforce. So building out that onshore capability that can work with a client and develop that cloud strategy and that cloud migration path. We see them incorporating greater cognitive and AI capabilities into their advisory and migration tool sets. We also see them integrating those tool sets broadly across the cloud lifecycle. So rather than having a dedicated assessment tool and a dedicated migration tool and a dedicated operations tool, actually developing a single cohesive tool set across that lifecycle. And finally, we see them developing migration accelerators tailored to the specific requirements of specific industry or specific technology.